Today on Legal Yes, Shannon Beador arrested for DUI and hit and run. Thomas Markle talks suing his daughter for visitation rights. And Carl and Lindsay's wedding guest drama. Plus, we go over the accusations made against Russell Brand. We've got that plus so much more in today's Legal Yes. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Neama Rahmani, President and CEO of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Hi Neama, how are you?
Everything's great, Christina. How about you?
Very good, very good. We got some big, I know we talk about housewives a lot on this show, but we got some big housewives news this week. So Real Housewives of Orange County star Shannon Beador was arrested for a hit and run and driving under the influence after a harrowing incident in Newport Beach. So she was booked for the 2 misdemeanors after driving erratically through the California beach town on September 16th. She allegedly drove her car onto a residential property and clipped the house. And then she reportedly parked the vehicle in the middle of the street before getting out with her dog in a supposed attempt to make it appear that she had been walking her pet when police arrived. Newport Beach police confirmed to TMZ that Shannon was cited and released without bond. Her car was seized as part of the investigation into the damage of the Newport Beach house. So not only is this a DUI, but also a hit and run. How much trouble is Shannon going to be in?
Well, Shannon's really lucky that no one was hurt because in California, when you're dealing with a DUI, there's a big difference between DUIs causing property damage only. They're misdemeanors. But if there's any bodily injury, then it's elevated to a felony. So she's lucky that the only thing that was damaged was that Newport Beach home.
Mm-hmm. So what will she be charged with? She'll be charged with a DUI, charged with a hit and run. Could she potentially be facing jail time? Is she going to have to go into rehab? What are kind of the next steps for her?
Well, I'm actually from Orange County. My parents live in Newport Beach. So the Orange County District Attorney's Office, they take these cases very seriously. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you're dealing with a first-time DUI and you enter into a plea, usually you're not going to get any jail time. What will happen is you're going to have to do some classes, some Alcoholics Anonymous, maybe some Mothers Against Drunk Driving classes. You may even have to have an interlock ignition device installed on your car, which means you have to blow into it for your car to start. Of course, there's going to be hefty fines and penalties, and you're going to be put on probation. But it's really those second and third DUIs that result in significant jail time.
Right. There's been reports that she's voluntarily, getting some help already. Will that lessen the severity of maybe what what she will be handed by police? Would that ever lessen what she could, what you were saying before, what could happen to her?
Yeah, that's a good strategy in terms of mitigation. Mm-hmm. Judges look for people that are voluntarily getting treatment, getting into rehab if they have an alcohol or substance abuse problem. So that's something that good defense lawyers present to the judge and say, look, Your Honor, my client is taking this seriously. She's already getting the help that she needs. So maybe she's getting some good legal advice there because this is going to be a difficult case to defend. That walk in the dog defense is not going to fly.
Right. And, speaking of the dog, I saw a lot of people on social media asking about, what happens to the dog once, when they're involved in something like this. Could she be booked for something like that? Putting your pet in harm's way as well.
Actually, interestingly, Christina, years ago, there was a member of the California State Legislature that actually put a piece of legislation, proposed it, saying that if you actually put your dog at risk, there should be increased penalties for a DUI. Now, that law never passed in California, so it was just a proposal. It didn't go into effect. So really, right now in California, unless you leave your dog in the car without air conditioning, with the windows up, or you do something to subject them to danger, you're not going to be charged, or there's no real enhancement in this case, even though Shannon did really put her dog at risk.
Mm-hmm. If she fights any of this, if by chance she wants to fight any of this, could the court or anybody look back at this past season of The Real Housewives of Orange County? And because her drinking has been a hot topic of conversation, could that ever be put into consideration as well?
No question. If it's something that, she discussed or she was drinking, she was potentially getting behind the wheel. Now, being a crazy person on a reality TV show isn't a crime. Even being an alcoholic isn't a crime. You really need that nexus to driving or some other unsafe conduct. So there's something in the show that talks about her potentially getting behind the wheel. That's absolutely something that can be used against her. And of course, in every state in this country, flight is evidence of consciousness of guilt. So it doesn't matter whether you're fleeing the scene of a murder or a DUI. That's all evidence that can be used against you.
Yeah, well, luckily nobody got seriously injured in this whole incident. All right, moving on over to Meghan Markle's estranged father, Thomas Markle. Now, he has opened up about how he wants to meet his grandkids before it's too late. He told Good Morning Britain that he is heartbroken that he hasn't met his grandkids, Archie and Lilibet. He thinks it's cruel to deny his right as a grandparent to see his grandchild. He said, in California, I can actually sue to see them, but I don't want to do that. The other thing is I've done nothing wrong. There's nothing that points to say that I'm a bad guy. So is he correct that under California law, can he sue for visitation rights to see his grandchildren?
Thomas, that's not entirely accurate. Now, of course, you can sue for any reason or no reason at all, but that doesn't mean you're going to win. In California, there is a presumption that parents get to decide who sees their kids, and they can exclude grandparents from seeing their kids. Now, that presumption can be overcome. The grandparents can prove that it's in the best interest of the child for them to have visitation rights, but it really has to trump the parents' rights to control who their children get to see and interact with. So it's an uphill battle. So Thomas may file, and he's filed other cases that really haven't gone anywhere. So I would be hesitant if I were him, because you really have to show that the parents are making a bad decision. It's in the best interest of the child. And most California judges are going to side with the parents in a case like this.
Right. And it seems like Meghan has a long list of things that could prove why he maybe shouldn't have a lot of visitation rights to his grandkids as well.
Yes. There's obviously a lot going on when it comes to Thomas Markle and dealing with Meghan, her sister. He seems to be a bit of a litigious fellow. So I just make sure, if I were him, you're getting good legal advice from a California lawyer before you file a lawsuit like this.
Yes, tread lightly. All right. Well, this has been an interesting story, and why there's no legal steps yet, maybe there could be. So multiple sources previously told Us Weekly that Carl Radke and Lindsay Hubbard didn't initially reach out to tell their loved ones and inform them that their wedding was called off until just recently. So they were set to get married in Mexico in November, but they broke off their wedding on August 31st, and he did this right in front of Bravo cameras. And a second insider told us that the breakup came as a shock to the wedding guests as well, with a source telling us that only producers knew this was coming. Very few of the guests were informed before the news broke. The deadline to cancel their rooms and receive a refund is over, so many guests were left to eat the cost. So can the wedding guests, if they wanted to, go after the groom production if they knew that the wedding was canceled before they could get a refund, saying like it was maybe allotted within that time?
The answer is yes with respect to Carl and Lindsay, but it's going to be much harder with respect to the production company. And the reason is this: there has to be some sort of legal duty or a contractual relationship for there to be a claim. So the guests can say, well, we were invited by the bride and groom and they defrauded us. Or, we had an agreement and they breached that agreement because they didn't tell us that the wedding was canceled and we suffered damages as a result. That same relationship doesn't exist between the guests and the production company. So I don't think they would have a really good claim to go after the production company directly. But I think with respect to their out-of-pocket costs for the hotel, to the extent that those costs were incurred after Carl and Lindsay knew the wedding was off, I think the guests actually have a decent case there.
Yeah, and there was rumors, we did not confirm this at all, but there were some rumors going around that maybe Carl and Lindsay had a deal with the hotel, and maybe that's why they didn't tell guests before they could get their money back. Is that something that maybe you've heard before, like maybe they were contractually bound to this hotel to have a certain number of guests show up?
I have seen that. So, when there's a wedding, oftentimes the bride and groom will guarantee a room block, which means that they'll get a discounted rate, but they need to fill those hotel rooms. So let's say they guarantee that block, but guests don't show up, or the wedding is canceled, the bride and groom may be on the hook. I'm not saying they, didn't tell their guests to shift the cost onto them, but it's certainly a standard provision that the bride and groom are going to pay for all this because, again, that contract is between the hotel and Carl and Lindsay and not between the hotel and the guests until they make those reservations.
Right. So they could have potentially had to foot the bill of all these rooms that weren't occupied then.
Potentially. If Carl and Lindsay guaranteed that room block and guests started canceling because the wedding was canceled, they, being Carl and Lindsay, may have had to pay that difference.
Interesting. All right, moving on to a big story this week. So Russell Brand is facing sexual assault, rape, and emotional abuse allegations by multiple women. So The Times published a bombshell article about the actor and comedian in which 4 women alleged being sexually assaulted by Russell between the years of 2006 and 2013. He denied the very serious allegations against him in a video posted on X. So according to the Sunday Times, the allegations against Russell, like I said, occurred between 2006 and 2013 during his time acting in Hollywood and working as a presenter for BBC Radio 2 and Channel 4. So one woman, referred by the name of Alice, accused him of being sexually and emotionally abusive towards her throughout their relationship, during which she was just 16 years old and he was 30. She previously reported her claims to Russell's agent, who put her in touch with his lawyer, who shut down her allegations. Another woman, identified as Nadia, claimed that Russell raped her in his Los Angeles home in July of 2012, after which she received treatment at a rape crisis center. A third woman also accused him of sexually assaulting her, and the outlet reported that more women have come forward since the allegations against Brand were reported. Obviously, these are some very serious allegations. And if the police do find, now that the police are opening up an investigation into this as well, so if police do find that Russell committed these crimes, can he potentially face some serious jail time?
Very serious jail time, Christina. And you're right. I mean, bombshell allegations, not just one, but multiple women accusing Russell Brand of rape and sexual assault in my hometown of Los Angeles. And I've handled a lot of these cases, both as a former prosecutor and now representing victims of sexual assault. So I know exactly how the district attorney's office works. And they look for corroborating evidence, like a contemporaneous report, to Russell Brand's agent or lawyer or to medical personnel. Those are the things that can substantiate these types of allegations. And of course, when you have multiple victims, that only strengthens the prosecution's case. I don't care if you're a Harvey Weinstein, a Danny Masterson, or a Bill Cosby. Jurors sometimes have a hard time believing one victim, but it's very difficult to disbelieve multiple victims who are telling the same story. So given the nature of these allegations, the high-profile defendant, and the fact they have multiple victims, I would not be surprised if the district attorney filed criminal charges here in LA County.
Yeah, interesting, even with Harvey Weinstein and a bunch of these high-profile cases of sexual assault and rape, we find out the information through these news outlets doing these bombshell reports and things like that. Why don't they involve authorities earlier on, or do they usually?
Oftentimes they don't. And this is part of the psychology of a rape victim or sexual assault victim, particularly when it happens when someone is a minor or a child. I mean, it's very hard when you're dealing with this disparity in power here in Hollywood. Women are afraid to come forward and be re-victimized all over again. Again, I don't know what happened. I'm not saying that, Russell Brand is guilty. I'm not representing any of the clients, but, he's already come out and denied it. There's allegations that his lawyer was involved and kind of shut this down. So, there's a reason that rape and sexual abuse is among the most underreported crimes in this country. Oftentimes it's a he said, she said in Hollywood. Sometimes there's a disparity in wealth. There's a disparity in power. Women don't want to come forward and be re-victimized all over again, potentially have to testify in court. So it's a personal decision, but I do give credit to women everywhere that have come forward and confronted their accusers, because I do see the tables turning a bit over the past 10 years or so, both with Me Too and, there's really strength in numbers. So, but still, I don't think where we should be as a society when it comes to prosecuting these types of cases. So hopefully this will empower other women who have been victims to come forward.
Yeah, and it seems like it did. Multiple other women have come forward since reading these women's claims against Russell. So it seems like you said, power in numbers. So hopefully they get the justice that they deserve. Well, Neama, thank you so much, as always. Lots of big news going on this week.
Thanks so much for having me, Christina. Great being on.
For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.